Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that affects literally every single one of us, but honestly, we almost never want to talk about it. We're looking at a text called The Seventh Word, which gives us a super empathetic way to look at our ultimate end. Let's face it, the thought of death, it's daunting. It's the great silencer. Most of us avoid it like the plague until we absolutely have to face it. But today, we're going to look right at it. Not to be morbid, I promise, but to see how a massive paradigm shift, specifically faith in the afterlife, can actually transform our deepest fears into something totally different. So here's the big question. Is death a wall or is it a door? Think about it. If it's a wall, well, it's a dead end, right? A complete, absolute stop. A crash that shatters everything we spent our whole lives building. But if it's a door means there's a room on the other side. It means transition. It means the journey actually continues. And this simple, powerful metaphor is going to guide our whole exploration today, as we move from the dark reality of a dead-end wall to the light of a wide-open doorway.
All right, Section 1, the silencing fear. Let's understand our deepest anxieties.
To start, we really need to validate exactly why death terrifies us so much. It's not just the biological end of things, it's the emotional devastation. Our death anxiety is deeply rooted in our connections. We're talking about separation, profound uncertainty, and that overwhelming, not-in-your-stomach fear of losing our loved ones. The text points out something we can all relate to. Just the fleeting thought, the mere possibility of losing someone we love can literally make our chests tighten up. That anxiety is universal, because our love and our investments in this life are just so incredibly strong. We are hardwired to connect, so the threat of permanent separation, it's psychologically crushing. Now, when you look at the world without the framework of an afterlife, you're hit with this harsh reality. Death just stands there as a dark nothingness. Try to imagine the intense agitation of living with that worldview. Seriously, think about it. Every single thing you do, your career, your family, your late-night efforts, in a worldview of absolute nothingness, it all just instantly vanishes into a terrifying void. It makes the whole human experience feel incredibly fragile and honestly kind of absurd. I mean, why build a beautifully intricate sandcastle if you know for an absolute fact the tide is going to violently wash it away in 5 minutes? That is the crushing weight of the void. Okay, moving to Section 2, the key to the mystery, unlocking the universe's secret. So on one side, we've got the dark nothingness we just talked about. But in total contrast, the seventh word introduces faith in God and the afterlife as a master key, a key that literally unlocks the closed secret of the universe. It beautifully flips the definition of death on its head. It shifts it from being this absolute tragic end and reframes it as a hopeful continuation. It's basically the difference between falling into a bottomless black hole and stepping safely onto a bridge. Let's define exactly what the source means here. Faith in the afterlife is the belief that the human journey does not end at the grave, which brings hope of reunion, accountability, and justice. Now, I want to be super clear on this because the source is very careful about it. Having this belief doesn't magically make death an easy thing. It doesn't just erase the visceral, very real pain of separation and grief. Mourning is human, right? We all do it. But what this perspective does do is give that pain a context. It stops human existence from just falling off a cliff into total emptiness. It reminds us that we aren't just temporary creatures of this earth. We're meant for something far more permanent. Which brings us to Section 3, justice and eternal value, the scales of the afterlife. So what exactly is saved from that terrifying void? Well, things like love, goodness, patience, worship, and justice. According to the text, when the journey continues past the grave, none of these precious pieces of your life are ever wasted. That immense patience you showed during a really tough time, it's recorded. Your quiet, unseen acts of goodness, they absolutely matter. Your love, it endures. The afterlife basically acts as this massive, eternal preservation system for everything that is deeply good about the human experience. It completely rescues our daily actions from being totally meaningless. And this leads us to a concept that hits right at our innate human craving for fairness, absolute justice, and mercy. Look, we all know the earthly realm is deeply flawed. Just turn on the news for 5 minutes, right? Good deeds go unnoticed all the time, and terrible wrongs often go completely unpunished. If this world is the whole shebang, that injustice is a really bitter pill to swallow. But the seventh word explains that the afterlife is the ultimate realm where divine justice and comforting mercy perfectly come together. It gives immense peace to the human heart just knowing that eventually the scales are going to balance. Now, this builds into a really fascinating paradox, especially if you're younger and you hear afterlife and think, oh, that just means giving up on this life. Not at all. The text explicitly says this does not mean underestimating life. It makes life more serious and valuable. Just chew on that for a second. If you actually believe your actions echo an eternity, you don't care less about what you do today, you care infinitely more. Realizing life is part of an eternal timeline actually injects our everyday, mundane choices with immense gravity and purpose. Every choice, every time you forgive someone, every right decision you make, it gains eternal weight.
Section 4, Wall or Door, Transforming Today Through Faith.
Here is a really practical 3-step thing you can do today to bridge this huge existential concept with your daily life. First, do a good deed today. Second, keep it completely unseen. Seriously, don't post about it on social media, don't tell anyone. And third, as you do it, remember that nothing beautiful is ever lost. By doing something good in secret, you're actually training your mind to let go of the immediate earthly reward of people clapping for you, and instead, you connect your action to that eternal preservation system we just talked about. You're acting for the permanent record, not just temporary applause. So if life is actually the start of an eternal journey, which action today becomes more meaningful to you? I really want to encourage you to actively reevaluate your current behaviors through this new, wide-open lens. Is it maybe how you speak to a stressed-out cashier at the grocery store? Is it a creative project you've been putting off forever? Or maybe it's finally finding the strength to forgive someone who really wronged you. When the horizon opens up from a brick wall to an endless pathway, the whole landscape of your daily decisions totally changes.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We started by staring down the terrifying wall of death, that dark nothingness that silences us. But through the lens of the 7th word, we've seen how shifting that paradigm to a continuing journey transforms our fear into hope, preserves our love and justice, and gives infinite gravity to the lives we're living right now. So I'm going to leave you with this final, lingering thought. Death, when viewed with this framework, is absolutely not a wall that ends meaning. It is just another door in the journey. So tell me, which of your actions will you connect to eternal value today? Keep that question with you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.